So, what is groupthink? Groupthink is a phrase that was coined by a psychologist in 1972. And groupthink describes situations in which all members are pressured to conform to the dominant opinion, often to their own detriment. And it's not just the dominant opinion, but it's also the dominant narrative. It's like, what are the masses doing? And that pressure to do what everyone else is doing is called groupthink. We can see a perfect example of groupthink in this cartoon where we see a herd of sheep following these other sheep off of a cliff, we can imagine, to their death. And one of the sheep says, I don't know where we're going, but from the look of this crowd, it's gotta be good. From Wikipedia, groupthink is a psychological phenomenon that occurs within a group of people in which the desire for harmony or conformity in the group results in an irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcome. Cohesiveness, or the desire for cohesiveness in a group, may produce a tendency among its members to agree at all costs. Now, a lot of times when we're talking about groupthink, and we saw it here, right? We saw it right away. We see these sheep jumping off a cliff, right? And sheep are very often this kind of shorthand for groupthink. So why is that? Why is it that when we're talking about groupthink, we're talking about sheep? And very often we'll hear the more dehumanizing label sheep ascribed to people who are going along with groupthink. Now, the reason this is because sheep are followers. You know, sheep always have a herder, right? Or they're sheepdogs, right? Sheep are always looking for someone to follow. And there's this very famous instance of a herd of sheep, and they were being moved in a specific trajectory, and someone put like a stick, say picture a broomstick, in their way so that the sheep had to jump over the stick to move forward. Now, at one point, as you had like 50, 60 sheep jumping over this pole, they took the pole away, and still every sheep that followed the sheep that were jumping over the pole continued to jump, even though there wasn't anything in their way that they had to jump over. So that's a perfect example of why we associate sheep with groupthink, because they're not thinking. There is no think when it comes to groupthink. It's just a matter of doing what those in front of us or around us are doing. So what is it in the human condition? Like, what is it in our wiring that has us following the crowd, that has some of us following along with groupthink, even to our own detriment? Groupthink at its base is an outcropping of outcast fear. Now, what is outcast fear?